Back in April, we introduced SHRM Enterprise Solutions, which is essentially a one-stop solution that allows companies to augment their marketing of their veteran hiring initiatives. So for example, like the openings focus solely on getting veterans involved in the application process, and the context of the entire site is truly focused on their veteran hiring initiatives.
How do companies go about creating these websites?
Essentially, they just go to enterprise.shrm.org and all the information is in there. They contact us and we get the process going with them. It's a very easy one-step solution and they're able to customize it and get it out there very, very quickly.
After 20 years as an Army officer, followed by a career as an account director at an advertising firm, Andrew Morton is now the Director of Social Engagement at SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management. In this role, he's responsible for all social media activities and communications. Andrew joins us now here in Boston. Andrew, welcome to Hiring America.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
What was your military experience?
It was started off after college. I enlisted in the military as a private, and I retired about 21 years later as a lieutenant colonel. And in between, the cultural experience, the experience of meeting all the people, traveling to almost every continent with the exception of Antarctica, and the overwhelming opportunity that I had in that 21 years was amazing.
What was the transition like for you as an Army officer into the field of advertising?
Well, you know, I had worked with an advertising agency as a part of a military internship, and I understood some of the concepts with regard to how to market and digital media. The challenge, I think, wasn't a capabilities challenge, it was a cultural challenge. And being able to transition from what I call the shallow end of the pool in the military to the deep end of the pool in the private sector was one that I wanted, but it was a challenge nonetheless.
What resources were available to you then to make that transition, and do you think there are better resources now for our veterans?
The Department of Defense has done an amazing job, and the private sector has been so altruistic in their support of transitions. But I think one of the most important resources is your network, your group of friends, colleagues who may have transitioned before you, reaching out to them, being able to understand what it is that they're doing 2 or 3 years removed from the military career.
And how does being exposed to so many incredible cultural experiences while you're in the service help you to work for a company that's already so determined to broaden their diverse workforce?
I think one of the most important skills to have, whether it's acquired or whether it's nurtured or whether you're born with it, is empathy. And empathy is achieved through understanding. And when you go to different places in the world, shopkeepers in Iraq, people that I met in Bosnia, in Egypt, in Macedonia, farmers, people who gave me everything that they had and welcomed me into their home, those types of experiences, you can't purchase those. You can't get those in a classroom.
What can a human resource department do to attract and retain military vets?
There's a responsibility on the part of the DOD, and there's a responsibility on the part of the hiring agency, and there's a responsibility on the part of the veteran to find and to work for those jobs. But I think there's also a cultural aspect of it, a communications aspect of it, that once you find that right job, you have to understand what it is that you're getting into. What's the culture of the organization? What is the organization's mission and objectives? And if they're befitting with yours, then no matter what the skills gap is, you'll overcome it. Because as soldiers, airmen, Marines, Navy sailors, what have you, we're always told to ask our superiors, what's the mission? What's the objective? We have to still be mindful of that when we're in the civilian sector.
What can SHRM do to teach other organizations about their hiring initiatives and ensuring that they're hiring and retaining a diverse workforce, including military vets?
The translators for resumes is incredibly important. The work fairs that SHRM chapters put on in local communities are not just for veterans in those communities, they're also for small organizations and large organizations in those communities to learn and understand and appreciate, bringing everybody together, the hiring manager, the veteran, the organization, and the SHRM HR manager. But I think probably more importantly, how do you help an organization understand a veteran, and how do you help a veteran understand what it is to work in a civilian organization?
What's your advice to veterans looking for jobs today?
The most important thing is start early. Don't wait until your last 6 months to look for a job. I made that mistake. I would also say don't lose sight of your objectives. You know, the number one thing that every veteran wants, and I think so many people want in life, is purpose. You don't have to forego that purpose when you take off the uniform. If you're serving with the right civilian organization, if you're afforded the opportunity to do more and to be a part of something bigger than yourself, it's irrelevant whether or not you're wearing a uniform or a suit.
Are there any particular tools or websites you would recommend for veterans?
Absolutely. I think that SHRM has done a really great job of creating a toolkit and resources to help veterans connect with local chapters. So you can go to SHRM.org, and underneath of SHRM.org, search for the Veterans Portal, and that will give you resources and tools. And it'll also allow you to geographically find a SHRM chapter near you to reach out to them to get help. Additionally, we're working with several organizations, including the American Heart Association, Hyatt, many Fortune 500 companies, to help create job sites that really afford veterans the opportunity to go directly to organizations and find those jobs.
Andrew, thank you for joining us here on Hiring America.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.